and this is what I tell any kind of $100,000 to $10 million brand, is every 6 to 8 weeks, try and have some sort of activation to get people to come and spend in your store.
If you're an e-commerce store owner and trying to figure out how to take your Facebook ads or your TikTok ads to the next level in 2022 with proven tips, tricks, and strategies that are already working from a professional who spends millions for clients in different niches and products all over the world, this interview is for you. It was super fun, super exciting. There's tons of learnings in there that are definitely going to help you take your ads to the next level. Hey there, I'm Ty, one of the founders of Shopify App, MonsterUpsells. Basically, it's all of your upsell dreams come true, jammed into a shopping cart that upsells not just once, but every time customers come back to your store, always upselling. It's all evergreen. Once you set it up, it's awesome. There's tons of offers and different things that you can run on your store. There's a free trial in the link below. Everything's on us for the trial, and hopefully you can make millions in that trial. Look, we've also got another link there that goes to our Facebook group that's completely free. It's never going to cost any money. Basically, we just throw as much awesome marketing information in there, interviews and things like that in there, and just jam it full of goodies for you. Join the free Facebook group. But enough about me. Let's get into this interview. You're going to love it. All right. Today, guys, I got something special for you. I've got Mr. Mark Lewis himself. Woo, welcome, mate.
What's up? Lovely to speak to you.
Awesome, man. I'm super pumped about this interview. Look, I'll just give everyone a quick background of who Mark is and why he's such a legend and why I'm so stoked to be interviewing him. Mark is a digital marketing strategist for a creative ad agency called Dunk. And if you haven't heard of them, you're probably not on TikTok, because their team just absolutely crushes it on TikTok. And that's literally how I ended up kind of building a relationship with their agency and Mark and his team. Yeah, but it was literally through TikTok. So if you're not on TikTok, you probably don't know, but here we go. Look, Mark handles millions in advertising spend on all platforms that are kind of direct response here. Is that right? So Facebook, can you just tell us which ones you're on?
Yeah, so all the direct response ones. So Facebook, you've got TikTok, which is a big one, Snapchat, Pinterest, all those social platforms. I've handled thousands, if not millions in ad spend across them.
Yeah, sick. Oh, exciting, man. Look, I met Mark when I transitioned a 8-figure client of mine. So before I was doing MonsterUpsells and my software and everything like that, I was working with the 8-figure client as their digital marketing strategist. So we kind of gel and hit it off when we first started chatting. So yeah, I had an 8-figure client and transferred him over to their agency because I wanted the best for my client, and now I had to move into other things. So I definitely believe in what he's doing. He knows his numbers. He's a bit of a number nerd, and he has his finger on the pulse across all of like different niches, because you're working with agencies, right?
Yeah, work with all Shopify e-commerce businesses across, say, 10 different niches.
Yes, sweet. Oh, well, that's pretty much most of them.
Mhm.
We'll say. Yeah, well, cool. Look, I'm extremely interested in what's going on today, like with the landscape of digital marketing, because I've been out of the game for a little while. I haven't been spending since last year. Not big money anyway. It's just kind of small bits here and there. So I'm hoping to get some great insights for you all today. Awesome. Cool. Let's dive into it, man.
Definitely. I was just going to say, I remember when we were initially jumping on the call and it was like a screening for you. You were like, okay, does this guy and does this agency know what they're talking about? And I was like, I knew it was a test. I knew I had to make sure I was on the right lingo in regards to the wavelength that you were on and the vision that you saw for the business that obviously you transferred to us.
Yeah.
And I still remember that to this day. You were like, just making sure, do these guys know what they're talking about? And it was good to see.
It's probably intimidating. I don't know if you'd really have a marketing strategist on the other side of the call trying to.
Generally it's just the business owner and they're like, what can you offer us? But it was cool to have someone that was actually clued into the ecosystem, I guess, of cool, what's going on, and then questioning you of, hey, what can you guys do for them? And I'm doing this. What can you guys do to kind of one up it?
Yeah, awesome. I thought I was doing pretty well, but I'm like, man, there's something else there. I knew there was. I was trying to pull out the gold from you guys to find out what that was. I believe in what you guys do in your product, so there you go. You must be doing a good job.
Yeah, so we're still with them, so we must be doing a good
awesome.
job.
Awesome. Obviously, guys, just today, I can't name any clients of my own or any of Mark's clients. You can go onto Dunk's website and you can kind of get a snapshot of different clients they work with. There's some big ones on there. But trust me, they've worked with some big guys and they've almost, they've seen it all, I'm guessing, because of those clients they work with. Cool. Mark, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to try and smash through this interview because I'm on a similar wavelength. So I know kind of what's coming, what you're probably going to talk about and things. And I want to really try and get the most out of you. And I'll probably touch on a heap of different topics as we get through to try and get the most out of you. Is that cool?
Yeah, definitely. Let's smash through it.
Quickly, let's get some background. Like, so am I mistaken? You worked at mini golf, then you got a
Yeah.
business degree, and then you became a growth strategist. How the heck did that happen? What's the flow there?
Yeah, so I'm going to do a plug. I used to work at Putt Putt Mermaid Beach, and I was a sales, let's say a sales attendant there for 7 years. That was my first job up until I started working here at Dunk. Did my whole business degree while I was working there. And then, funnily enough, I went to school with Cormac, who's our CEO, and he was starting out this agency, and I'd seen some of his things, and I was like, oh, this seems really sick. I need to get a job. So I hit him up, and I was like, hey, I've applied for a couple other internships. Do you have anything going? And he was the first internship I applied for, but I just bluffed him. I was like, if I say that I've applied for a few more, hopefully like I can get through the door. Yeah, man, come in.
Classic part salesman technique
Yeah,
right there.
definitely. And he's like, yep, come in. I started working as an intern, did 3 months interning, and then he's like, yep, you can start part-time. And he just taught me the ropes from, obviously Facebook ads was our bread and butter back then. It was literally all we did, just 8 hours a day on Facebook in the platform. It was the glory days, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, the glory days. What year was this?
This
Or
would have
like when
been
about?
2019.
Yeah, wow. There were some glory days. I was definitely smashing out some stuff at that time. I think I come from drop shipping world. I think I was selling mermaid rings
Yeah.
and royally crushing it, selling mermaid
Yeah.
jewelry.
A lot of people definitely come from that drop shipping background. They get into themselves and like, cool, I can help other businesses.
Yeah, no, it's cool to hear from a different perspective. You actually coming in from agency world. You did a business degree. Is there anything that was transferable from that business degree to what you're doing now?
Yeah, probably not. No, look, there's.
I love that.
We always have this debate in office because half the team have business degrees, the other half don't. And look, there's a couple of maybe the fundamentals of marketing that I'd say transfer across. But for the price that I paid for the uni degree, I've learned a wealth more working in the agency and just, I guess, working with, up to 40 businesses at any one time. You're going to learn a lot more than what sitting in a classroom could probably ever teach you.
I had a similar journey. I literally did marketing at uni, and as soon as I heard my teacher say that he'd never done marketing in real life, I was like, this is not for me. See you later.
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing my own thing. Good times. Yeah, university degrees, hey?
If only we could go back but I'm grateful for where it got me to, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. The next thing I was going to ask is where did you learn your skill set? But you learned it in-house. So with Cormac. So Cormac is he's the CEO, founder of Dunk.agency, and you learned it from him and his team and trial and error and things like that? Oh.
Yeah, so learned it from him. Like you said before, Cormac's pretty big on TikTok, and it's kind of where we got a lot of our growth. But learned from him, learned from big figures like Ezra Firestone, Molly Pittman. I did their train my Smart Marketer course and learned from them, learned from Tier 11, another big Facebook ad agency. So I've done about every single Facebook ads course under the sun. And then obviously just trial and error in accounts, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. Yeah, that's kind of where I developed my skill set.
Wait, that's good, man. So that's good for the audience. So you learned from Ezra Firestone's Facebook ads course, Tier 11. I know Tier 11. Where does that name come from? I know Tier 11.
So Tier 11's over in the States. I think they're like one of the biggest Facebook ads agencies over in the United States.
I think we interviewed them.
Ralph Burns?
To come and work with them, and we chose Dunk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we interviewed with them, and I'm like, nah, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a big, I guess, compliment to us because they're like who we looked up to. Like they were huge, and to see that we beat them out, that was massive.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so any other names you can rattle off?
Molly Pittman. These are great people. If you're in this, Tice community and you're wanting to learn, obviously Facebook ads, these are great people to learn off. Ezra Firestone, Molly Pittman, Ralph Burns. Giving back to them. Hopefully you guys can go listen to them because they've given so much to me.
Yeah, awesome. That's sweet. Yeah. Let's talk about platforms. So you're working across a heap. I've never worked with Pinterest or Snapchat. So I'm mainly coming from the perspective of Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Cool. Can you give us like a quick overview, like slam through the platforms? Like how are you guys approaching them? And I don't know. What are the focuses right now in each kind of platform?
So Facebook, still the number one in the game. If you're not on it, you're definitely missing out in a sense.
Yep.
Then you'd probably go TikTok. Obviously, you've heard of TikTok. Everyone's onto it. A little bit trickier than I'd say Facebook ads. Then you've got Snapchat and Pinterest. Snapchat, if you have the right product fit for obviously the audience demographic that's on there, I'd say it crushes it. If you're not, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. And then Pinterest is great for very top level, not very direct response in regards to just driving that straight purchase.
Yep, cool. All right, sweet. Thanks for that, bro.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head was at. That's where I think it is. As I said, I haven't been in the game for a little while, but it sounds like that hasn't changed too much other than TikTok coming in as another monster.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
growing over time.
Initially, when TikTok launched its ad platform, it was clunky and it wasn't very user friendly. And now, obviously, the platform's it's adapting and they're copying off a lot of these other platforms. It's slowly creeping up, and I still think it's a long ways off Facebook, but it's definitely catching up very quickly.
Let's talk about what is the mindset of a TikTok person, okay? So I don't know, I don't even know how to phrase this, but for some reason people buy from Facebook, but when they're on TikTok, it's like their mind isn't quite there in like buying mode, and you kind of have to stop that and kind of jolt it into buying. It's a little bit trickier. Would you agree or not?
Yeah, definitely. I think people get caught in the game of, TikTok, it's this hype and it's, there to drive conversions like a Facebook. But it's really difficult because Facebook and the nature of the platform itself, it's super addicting, right? And it's supposed to keep you on the platform. And, obviously to drive the purchase, you need to jump off the platform, right? So with TikTok, you're kind of battling this, where the user wants to be on there and they want to be spending as much time and they want to see what's coming up next. And TikTok itself doesn't want the user to leave the platform, right? So you kind of have to battle where how you're using the platform in a sense of, are you going to use it to drive that end conversion, or are you going to use it as a way of getting millions of eyeballs on your product and on your brand, and then using other platforms to then retarget those people. Now, given that TikTok is still a great conversion driver, but I don't think it's as easy as kind of what everyone's saying, like a Facebook where you can just jump on there, run an ad and get tens of hundreds of conversions in a day, for example.
Yeah, I hear you. Cool. So with the iOS 14, you just talked about retargeting, right? If people who are watching this haven't heard about this, the iOS 14 point something update happened. Maybe it was like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, which made it way harder to retarget, find the right audiences, cross platforms and things like that. And it really messed with Facebook a lot, and it made it a lot more expensive to drive traffic and reach the right people and convert them. So how are you guys in this landscape now dealing with tracking across all of these platforms? He's using kind of software like Triple Whale or Hyros. There's a few other ones out there. What are you guys doing there?
Yeah, so I've used Hyros, Triple Whale, and look, a lot of the time the e-commerce stores will have them. They're like, hey, we want to try this. We've seen it somewhere else. But us as an agency, we're like, cool, this is a big issue. What can we do to combat it? Because we had tried others and I wasn't quite sold on them necessarily in regards to the reporting that I'd seen come through. And we ended up partnering with a third-party platform that's called Blotout. And it's what we're using for a lot of our clients, where they go into the back end. And look, I don't know the full ins and outs of it because, I'm jumping on with these super nerdy computer guys and they're jumping in. But essentially what they do is they put their own tracking in there. They have a cloud server that sends the information back to that, and then it funnels that back through to Facebook. And we've seen, because they gave us a trial, hey, we want you to try this. If it works, great. You can pass it on to your customers, and then they can obviously, pay for it. And we did it. And the 3 clients that we tried it with, literally once they implemented it within, let's say, a week, their cost per acquisition, which is the main metric that we measure success with a lot of our clients, had dropped on average across all 3 of them about 15%.
Wow. Because of the feeding back into the algorithm.
Yeah. So it works one of 2 ways. It's you're actually getting that information back, but then 2, because Facebook can get the information back, it's making its targeting more effective because it's now got that information to then go back into the platform and be like, cool, who can we target? So 1, you're getting cleaner data through on the platform when we're in Ads Manager. But then 2, Facebook's using that going, cool, we've got all this extra data. We can see that Joe has gone and bought, we're going to go and target 15 more Joes.
Okay, cool. So you guys so that's a partnership you guys have with that company, or can people go out and also pay for their services, or is it something special you have?
Look, I'm not too sure about that. I know we partner with them. I'm sure if you look them up, they're called
Yeah.
Blotout, Blotout, and I'm sure you can look them up. They're from the United States. And, you could probably
Yeah.
see what they have, but I think they've just launched the Shopify app. So they have a Shopify app now that you can download it into the back end of your store, and I think it does it all for you. We were kind of the initial stage of the business where they had to actually have the developers go into the store and place all the pixel tags in there.
Wow. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Blot out. Sweet. All right, everybody, check that out.
Yeah.
So I've used Hyros. It's good, but I think I was using Hyros when you guys took them. It's
Yeah,
good, but they just didn't quite hit e-commerce. I think they're better for like more funnel kind of, how do I say this? Like digital, like course kind of space. Like it's all last click, first click attribution, which kind of doesn't really work very well for e-commerce, I feel. So I was using Hyros and Triple Well. I've actually heard really good things. I've never heard about Blot out. So there you
yeah.
go, guys. Check them out. Let's talk about creatives. What is and isn't working in the creative department these days?
This is probably a big one that people that are listening probably want to get into. And it's like, what's working, what's not. You've probably heard it here before. User-generated content, right? It's working. All these agencies are providing the service for it. And across all of our brands, we are in some way, shape, or form using user-generated content. But it doesn't need to be this very structured, high. I like to say that UGC has kind of gone against what it originally was, which was
Okay.
it was user generated. So it didn't look very professional. It wasn't this crisp editing with a drop down come into it and text boxes and everything like that. And it started off with it was super native and you would see it on the feed. And I think where it's kind of developed is it's gone back to people making UGC and they're getting, creators to make the content for them. And they're adding these super, cuts and drop downs, and then it's just screaming that it's an ad again. And it's kind of
Yeah.
gone like full circle. That stuff still works. Don't get me wrong. I'm using it for multiples of the brands that I'm actually running.
Okay.
But I think smaller e-commerce brands are getting into this kind of loop of, it needs to be this high quality UGC edited video. And that's not the case.
Okay.
You can literally have you unboxing your product from a point of view, putting that into an ad, getting it live, and that's user generated content. And that works. That's crushing it for one of my brands. It's just
Yeah.
someone
Awesome.
point of view, opening the box, seeing what they got, and that's like a user generated content video. But I guess people are kind of getting in the mix of it needs to be, someone holding the phone up, talking to the camera, and that's not the case. You can create user generated content for little to no cost.
Yep.
If you just look at, how can I communicate the effectiveness or the transformation of my product to the consumer? And there's some really good examples of brands that are doing that.
Cool. Should I ask what those examples would be? Hey, I've got a sneaky one. I don't know if Mark's going to like this, but one easy way to just track down all these guys' ads, you can do it. You can actually go on there. You can go on their agency Dunk, look at the people they work with, find ads library. I used to do this for agencies to actually see, like I was trying to suss out like what these agencies are doing if they had good quality work. So you can spy on them using the ad library, Facebook ad library, and literally type in the brands these guys are working with. So we don't have to talk about all those brands, but you can still do it,
Definitely. What I'll do, so yeah, you can go to Dunk, you can look at our website, go to the ad library, see what ads we're running. Another brand that does it really well, and we actually don't work with these guys, but they're a hammock brand on the Gold Coast. They're called Nike, and they film UGC that is really cool. It's no high production. It's very simple. That's like just the clearest example that I have of people that are just, grabbing the phone and like, cool, we can film this, grab it, put it into an ad account and then running it.
That's awesome, man. And the next thing I'm going to ask is, so I have done UGC, like I've worked with it, but one thing I realized is it's not the silver bullet. The funny thing is I never got a UGC piece of content to absolutely pop off. It'd be always UGC and something else. And there was nothing like absolutely amazing about it, getting huge results. One thing I did find though was running UGC alongside more static direct responsey kind of ads that were retargeting people who may have seen UGC content. That seemed to me like the strategy that was kind of working for me when I was spending big money. Would you agree with that strategy now, or have things changed over the last 10 months or whatever?
100%. I think, and look, I'm partly to blame for this because I work with an agency and we do a lot of advertising, and it's a lot of, hey, if you're not doing UGC, you're gonna get left behind. If you're not doing TikTok ads, you're gonna get left behind. Look, if you're not doing one thing or the other, you're not going to get left behind. And on that UGC, because of that, people think, oh, if I get this one piece of content and I put it into my ad account, I'm going to get to 100 grand a month. And it's just not the case. Look, it is great for laying the platform for user generated content. If you get user generated content, great, but it's not going to overnight transform your ad funnel or your ad strategy. You need to have a full funnel of content that's working together to get that end conversion. And UGC is a great component of that, and it definitely works in all stages of the funnel. But just solely relying on UGC to transform your business, like, you still need great copy, you still need an offer,
you need a great product.
You need a great product, exactly.
Yeah.
You need a great website. All these things are components of what ends up driving the person to go make that purchase. And while UGC is important and it does work well and it's effective, it's not the be all and end all.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you, man. Is there a way to test? I'm just guessing. Like, this is, I haven't actually done this, but is there a way to test? Can you remove this myth from my mind? UGC by using TikTok first. So I had done this. I have my own TikTok. Everyone can follow me on TikTok, Shopify. There's a plug. I try and teach marketing tips and tricks. But one thing I was doing is I'd run I'd run a UGC or somewhat like an ad. It's not really an ad. Like, I'm actually trying to solve a problem. I'm teaching people about something. And if it went viral on TikTok, could I transfer that over to Facebook and it would maybe change it a little bit for Facebook? Is that a strategy you guys are using or you've been doing?
Yeah, 100%. Organically, TikTok is a monster.
Yeah.
If you can, this is from firsthand experience for people that are on this platform. I'm going to go this way to kind of come back to your answer. TikTok is phenomenal if you want, amazing reach at little to no cost. I worked with a fashion brand. They had a piece of clothing. Some girl did a TikTok in it. That girl's TikTok got a lot of views. And then what happened was the girl was like, cool, if I'm in this dress wearing and I'm getting a lot of views, I'm going to keep creating content. And then what the brand did was they just took that piece of content the girl made, put it into their ads, and then within 14 days, they'd sold out and they had about 400 items of that product. And it was literally from that girl creating just an organic piece of content. She obviously saw the views, kept making content in that product. So it helped organically. And then we went, cool, it's working there. Let's pull it into our ads, story placement, because that was the placement that was doing well for this brand, and crushed it. Within literally 14 days, 400 units of about, I think it was $120 product was sold out.
Wow, that's awesome, man. And this, I feel like this is kind of a newer thing that's kind of happening now because Facebook has kind of gone this whole video format. They've definitely gone short form video heavy. They've even said that's where they're going, short form video and everything like that. So now the platform is kind of being redesigned to actually favor that kind of stuff. So you're probably going to get cheaper views and everything like that. But can you transfer something that you make on Facebook and Instagram over to TikTok? Or is it kind of... Okay, it's kind of TikTok to Facebook and that's it?
Yeah, it's TikTok to Facebook and not the other way around.
Yeah.
A lot of brands, they get shiny object syndrome and they go, we want to jump on TikTok. And I say, great, what content do you have? And they go, I want to use the stuff we're using on Facebook. And I'm like, it's too slow. It's not going to work. TikTok is great because it transfers over, especially with, Meta having reels and story placements. It does transfer that way, but not necessarily the other way around, especially because TikTok is so trend and music based. If you don't have the right songs in the background or the trend that's currently the next thing on TikTok, it doesn't necessarily transfer across. Also, the lifespan of content on TikTok is a lot shorter. Facebook, I have ads that have ran for 3 months. I literally haven't touched them, just kept adding budget to them and they've just ran. The same piece of content. On TikTok, it's 10 to 14 days max. Maybe you can stretch it out to 21, but generally by then it's like, there's a new trend, a new song, the piece of content's not doing as well. And, that's why it's so much more labor intensive TikTok ads. And if you can start posting organically on TikTok first, you get yourself into the rhythm of not only what's working, but how do you actually create content for your ads. So that's what I always tell people: start posting organically, build up a social presence, feel out how to actually make the content for the platform, and then go from there.
Cool. And you keep bringing up this word transformation. Is this a key word? Is this a key concept that has to happen to kind of make TikTok work, or that kind of short form video? Can you just lay it out? Like, how does
Sure
that
thing.
work? Yep.
So it's kind of outlaying where the consumer is as they currently stand, and then where they're going to be if they buy your product or service, and that process in between as well, and how your product fits into it. Because
Yep.
if you go on TikTok, you do see a lot of, hey, this is my makeup hack, and this is me before, and this is me after. You see a lot of people showing, their diets and what they've done, and then where they're at now, and weight loss transformations and glow ups from when they were 14 to when they were 22, and starting their business to finish, their business is now $1 million. Like, you see all this content on TikTok,
Yeah.
at least in my algorithm, I do. That's very prevalent in the ads, which is cool. You as the consumer that we're talking to, you're currently right here. And if you buy this product, or the way that this product works, it can help you get to the end goal where you should, be striving to be. And I always say this with, say, for example, High Smile. They're very good at it, which is, hey, you have yellow teeth, try this, whitening paste or this mouth guard, and you'll have brighter, whiter teeth that everyone wants. And they're really great at, and I guess their product suits it, showing, cool, you're here, buy the product, you'll be here.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Mhm.
How do I do that though if I'm a clothing brand?
Yes, clothing is a bit difficult to showcase that kind of transformation. A big thing I always say with clothing is you want to stand for something more than just a cool logo, right?
Cool.
Because
I like this. I
everyone,
like where we're going now. I like where we're
yeah,
going.
because everyone can go and print. I mean, I could make a sick logo tee and print it, but it's like everyone can do that, right? And I always come into work and I get roasted because I have this shirt that says Mermaid Beach, and it's where I'm from. And a big thing of why I wear that is because it represents, it's a part of who I am. I grew up in this suburb, and the brand Alfred's, which supplies the shirt, they're very much ingrained in like the community and in skate and surf, and that was all the things I grew up doing. And I always say with fashion brands, always having a bigger purpose other than just the clothing that people can represent and are proud to have
Yep.
on their on their chest, essentially.
Yeah, I always like
Mhm.
to try and say, what's your edge? So you're selling
Mhm.
the same product as everyone else, but that doesn't mean that you can't compete. There's different customers out there that have different needs and wants and desires in their life. And what you need to do is find your exact customer, target down into that person, and
Yeah.
try and match it with some kind of edge with your
Mhm.
brand. You can sell the same leggings. Like, there's that many leggings companies out there. I was literally
It's
talking to someone the other
ridiculous.
day. I was talking to a guy the other day he has a brand. It's a smaller brand that you would have no idea about. Like, they're not a big brand, but
Mhm.
he's turned over $30 million in sales, and he sells
Jesus.
leggings. So literally, like, the same thing everyone else is trying to sell. But the thing is, he's targeted this niche, right? I'm just going to make up a new one. Let's just go. He's targeted like motorbike rider leggings lovers. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
people who ride their motorbikes and don't want to wear jeans. They like to wear. This is a stupid idea, but I mean,
I
just
might create a
nailed this
brand like
one.
that.
Yeah, it's like badass leggings for badass motorbike riders or something like that. I don't know. But he's found
Mhm.
this exact niche, and then he's coupled it with, we give back to a charity that also targets that niche, and like
Mhm.
all of his copywriting and everything all goes back to that one thing. But at the end of the day, he's still selling leggings. Like, he's literally
Mhm.
selling the same product. Even the funny thing is, the leggings look the same as all the others too. There's nothing even special on them, but it's because the brand and the community that he's trying to build is around this target niche. It just works so well. And as I said, $30 million in sales, selling the same thing that you see everywhere. Like, there's nothing really special. It's just he's nailed his niche down and he's found his edge. And I
Yeah.
guess, like, with TikTok, you can kind of sell that transformation where it's like, hey, I'm like a badass motorbike rider hopping off my bike and I'm wearing these
Mhm.
leggings. And this is, yeah, you don't have to be corny about it. But yeah, anyway.
Definitely. It's niching, especially with clothing. And I always say Gymshark. Everyone's heard of Gymshark. There was Adidas, there was Nike, there was Reebok, there was 50 million different athletic brands, and there's another 50 million more now since they've launched. But
Yeah.
they literally just started with a niche group of, gym people that were like, if you've heard of Zen and that culture where it was like gym and festivals and you had the stringer tees, like they started with that and they really formed a tight community of these gym bros. And now look, they've been able to expand, but at that time it was like, cool, you had all these other sportswear brands, but they just found this one group of people that they could target and found there was a little gap there, a
Yep.
small one with just string and singlets. And then they've built a $1 billion business from it.
Yeah. And then like my advice to anyone listening is don't just copy what Gymshark just did.
Yeah.
Just because they're crushing it means that it's actually going to be hard for you to do the exact same thing because they just absolutely nailed that whole niche and whatever. But what you could do is go, hey, I'm doing stringer suits for stringer singlets for, I don't know. I'm not going to even, I'm going to go in a bad place if I keep going. But yeah, there's something to say for, you can sell the same product, but sell it with a new story and a new transformation, like you were just saying before. Let's talk about Facebook ads. So there's two types of people who are probably going to be listening today. One is going to be a person who actually knows their stuff already and is looking for, hey, like maybe there's an edge, there's something else that we're missing and I should be structuring my ad account a little bit different to what I'm doing right now. And there's another person who has no freaking clue. And they're like, I'm just starting out and I've got to spend, I'm testing this thing. I've got $1,000 a week or $1,000 a week to test.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say like $1,000 a week is kind of where you need to sit or you could do less than that?
Yeah, I'd say around $3,000 a month is kind of minimum you need to be.
A bit less than me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's it. Like $500 a week or something like that, or maybe even less. $500 a week. So let's start off with the guys who are already doing well, and they're just trying to find that next thing. They're spending like 10 grand a month plus, and they're trying to scale bigger. What are you doing like ad account structure wise using CBO, ABO, testing, measuring? I'd love to get your insights there.
Definitely. So for the people that are at the 10K or above, and I guess I'll go to the people that are below that, what we're seeing, and I was kind of against this when it initially came out, which was Facebook being like, hey, we're a lot smarter than you, condense down your ad account, do less work in the actual ad account. In 2019, we were in the ad account doing this and that and playing in the back end and that's all we were doing. But now what Facebook is saying, and what I'm saying, it was very hard for me to do this as a media buyer, was to kind of take a hands-off approach and let Facebook do its own learnings to get out of the learning phase.
Okay.
And what I mean by this is...
What's the learning phase? Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah, so when launch a campaign, Facebook goes into learning. And essentially what happens is it's gathering all the information, it goes out to different pool of people, and from them it gets learnings on, okay, who can I best target? Now, if you get 50 purchases within a 7-day window, it will get out of the learning phase and it'll go to active. If it doesn't, it goes to learning limited, which essentially just means it's done all of its learning, and people freak out and go, oh, my account's in learning limited. What do I do? If it's in learning limited and it's hitting your purchase goals or your targets, let it keep running. It doesn't necessarily matter whether it's in learning or it's in active. I mean, the end goal is to get it in active, but if it's in learning limited and it's hitting your KPIs, that's completely fine. But what we've been doing is condensing down how many campaigns we actually have.
Okay.
I'm running an ad account for a brand that's spending $120,000 this month on Facebook. We've got 4 campaigns running. We've got one top of funnel, which is just their best performing audiences, their best performing ads. It's CBO, and we're just letting it run. Then we've got another top of funnel campaign that's more for our testing. So when we're doing, ad copy tests or creative tests in those audiences or audience tests, we're using that and we're taking that and we're putting it into our best performing kind of campaign, our evergreen campaign. Then what we have...
Is that test one CBO or is that...
That's ABO.
ABO, yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone who's listening, so CBO is campaign budget optimization, which is like the entire campaign. You're letting Facebook do the algorithm and find out which ad set to allocate money to and which one's winning and which creators, whatever. But then there's ABO, which is ad set budget optimization, which means you set the budget from the ad set level rather than the campaign level. So you're forcing Facebook to spend on all the creatives in this ad set. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone, which is probably, I'm guessing, easier to run tests on because you're getting money to you're forcing money to be spent on certain creatives to see if it works.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. Sometimes I just assume people know what I'm talking about. So it's great that you jumped in and kind of prefaced it. But yeah, that's kind of how we're structuring our top of funnel. And then when we go to our middle of funnel, what I used to do and what I used to love was really segmenting out the audiences. So I would do 0 to 7 days or 0 to 14 days, 14 to 30, 30 to 180. And in each of these, audiences or ad sets, I would have different messaging, whether that's more reviews based, whether it's more, offer based, or whether it's a different product range, depending on where they're at. But now what I'm doing is really condensing those audiences and just doing 180 days and letting that run and putting, 6 to 7 ads and just letting it spend. Now I'm in there and I'm making sure to check what ads are working. If there's, ads that are spending ridiculous amount and aren't hitting our goals, I'll turn them off. But kind of taking a bit more of a hands-off approach.
Yeah.
Really focusing on the things we can control. And this goes for the small people as well. We can control the ad copy, we can control the creative, we can control the headline, and we can control where the people go.
Yep.
So the landing page. While we can control to an extent the audiences that Facebook is targeting, within that audience, Facebook is then going to target people again. So people get, I saw there was a lady in the group asked the question, lookalikes or broad. Let's focus on what we can control, because each account's going to be different. I could come in here and say, the shopping and fashion interest is crushing it for one of my brands. You guys go try it and it absolutely tanks. But what I've been, teaching the guys here is let's focus on what we can control, which is trying to improve our creative, our copy, our landing pages, and really putting a focus on that. And then allowing Facebook to do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to ad targeting.
Okay, cool. With the CBO, I'm just, circling back a little bit, that top of funnel. What targeting are you doing? Are you going like wide, like really wide CBO? Or are you using lookalikes? Like it's just I've got to put the question out there.
Yeah, I'm using a bit of everything. So what's working really well is broad, no age, 18 to 65, obviously gender, depending on what your product is.
Yep.
And then doing that, and like I said, taking our top 6 ads or top 7 ads and letting them spend in that campaign.
Okay. Are you running one ad set? Is it multiple ad sets in that campaign? So one will be super broad and have nothing, or is it one will be lookalikes up against that super broad one?
So it really just depends. Some campaigns are just like, cool, just one campaign, one ad set abroad, top 7 ads, and just letting that run. And then other accounts, it could be like, if you know that 5% lookalike purchase is working, and then also, let's just say Bunnings warehouse interest is working, we'll be running those two. But stacking multiple interests, because before, we used to condense down interest and be like this one or this one. But now what we try and do is be a bit more broader in the sense of we'll do multiple sustainable interests. For example, if we're targeting a sustainable audience, we do like sustainable fashion, ethical consumerism, and one other in an audience. So it's still broad, but they're all targeting kind of the same interest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. That's sweet, man. So then that's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. How are you dealing with bottom of funnel now?
Bottom of funnel, I'm still loving the dynamic product ads. They're still crushing it for me. So if you're not too sure what dynamic product ads are, you have a pixel on your website. Facebook can track what products people have seen, and then it will show that product to them, pulling through your catalog. And then what we generally have is their offer, and the strong offer that we work on. And we generally test with them to see, cool, which offer works best. And that's been working really well for us, or for me in my account.
Are you also using static as well? And the other thing, can you speak about the iOS 14 stuff? Like, how does that work with retargeting? And is it actually still worth doing bottom of funnel? Everything kind of still works? How does that work?
Definitely. So statics, if we're using statics for our bottom of funnel, what we're doing is we're getting similar to the DPA, what it does is it pulls from your Shopify catalog. What we do, and a strategy that works really well for me, is we get the product images and we get the brands to take photos of them on colored background that is similar and represents their brand colors. So for example, if they're purple, we'll have a purple background with the product flat lay on it. And then what we do is we have small text writing on it, on the image that says, take 10% off, or lifetime warranty, whatever offer that we're presenting to get
free shipping today.
Free shipping today. That has been crushing it for us. Another kind of example of that is if it's more of a lifestyle product, having it where there's a piece within the image that you can overlay that text, and it's kind of like you have the image, you have kind of the main, let's just say your a swing. You'd have someone on a swing, and then you'd have the blue sky where it says free shipping today.
Yeah,
And that's crushing it for a lot of our brands as well.
cool. When you say bottom of funnel, what is the audience you're referring to?
So bottom of funnel for us is people that have shown a very high level of intent. People of
Okay.
different kind of levels of what they consider their bottom of funnel. For some people, it could just be all website visitors. For us, what we generally do is view content or add to cart and initiate checkout. So people that have gotten to the line, they're literally a click away from pressing purchase, but for some reason, they have not purchased. And, there's the old saying of, oh, they could have been busy and they could have jumped off and this, that, and the third. Yeah, that can be the case, but more often than not, there was something there. Generally, it's price or shipping, or that they're unsure about the product that's halting them from clicking that button. And when you're considering your bottom of funnel, what can you do to kind of reduce the nerves for the consumer? So what can you do it to make it as, appeasing as possible, if that's the right word, to buy the product and have no buyer's remorse. So they're not going to buy it and be like, oh, is this the right product? Is it going to do what I need? Cool. We have 30-day happiness guarantee. You're getting free shipping. Everything is in your favor that, we back our products so much that
It's
we
like
can
addressing objections almost.
Yeah,
Every single objection you can think of.
exactly.
Yeah, sweet. Hey, just quick question. How long have you got as well? You got to be somewhere at a certain time?
No, I can keep going if you want.
Yeah, sweet. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I've just got a
cool.
bit more and I'm like, should I just jump through or should I, just kind of go through?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just address the person who's starting to dabble in Facebook. They've got $500 a week. What are they doing? What's kind of a strategy that they might want to start today?
Definitely. So keeping it simple, if you've got, let's just say $50 a day, you don't want to be having 5 different campaigns. And we generally find this that people have small budgets and they create heaps of campaigns with heaps of ads. I'd say keep it as short as possible and condensed. So maybe have one top of funnel conversions campaign running with 2 different audiences and maybe 2 to 3 different ads. And then below that, you'd have your top of funnel, and then you just have all your retargeting in the one. So you'd have all your social engaged, all your website engaged, your IG shopping, Facebook shopping, and you just condense all of them into the one, just so you have traffic that's pushing into that audience, and then audience combined so that you can allow enough budget to target that audience and it not be maybe 500 people.
Cool, sweet. And then maybe like a strategy, like would you say to learn what works in your industry, is there like any cheats or ways or tips to try and find out, I guess, leeching off other brands and things like that?
Yeah, leeching off other brands. I mean, the ad library is a great one.
Yep.
And I think you put up a post which was, be careful that seeing these big brands and knowing that what they're doing is effective, because they're 8 times out of 10 they have all the same general information as you, and a lot of the bigger brands they're not keeping up to date with what's going on. A lot of these people aren't. They have obviously your marketing directors, but they're not in the tools anymore. And what happens is they kind of start to get left behind, and maybe they're not up to scratch with what's going on. And the real good guys, they're still in the trenches and they're still doing the work. But I guess the best thing is going into the ad library and just looking at what people are doing and breaking down their content or where they're sending people, and maybe little tips and tricks. I mean, a great one is if you see a brand that's running a giveaway, be like, cool, why are they doing that giveaway? What are they trying to achieve? And from that, it's like, oh, okay, if they're getting email leads and you're trying to get email leads, like, cool, what can I do to maybe copy that formula? I tell a lot of these guys, like, steal and scale. It's like, if you see someone that's doing something and that you think, okay, that could have merit to it, introducing that, but putting your own spin on it. Don't just copy it word for word, because each brand is going to be different. But taking components of that and being like, cool, how can I take that and put it into my own brand to fit the objective that I need? That's why I start with, okay, what are you trying to achieve? And then work backwards from that, and obviously look at what other people are doing that may be trying to achieve the same objective as you.
Yeah, I remember when I was first starting out, it's kind of the way, I never did any courses or anything because there literally wasn't really any courses for what I was doing back in the day. There was no gurus that people learn from anymore. There was actually no gurus. I was amongst the gurus. They were my friend. But yeah, like we were trying to figure it out. And one of the ways was using ad library, spying on people like businesses. But one of the things I liked to learn from was looking at niches, like looking at people who are in the same niche as you, but a completely different product. and just seeing like what's working on that. Yeah, what's working for them. And it makes it a lot easier to kind of steal and bring across. I like to use the word steal because
Yeah.
stealing to me means that you need to make it your own. But if you're borrowing, I feel like that's like a sin. That's the worst thing. Don't just copy, steal their
Steal it.
idea and make it completely your own as if you made it. Like, you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, that's Ty's tips and tricks right there. My
It's
methodology.
it's definitely got merit to it because look, when you're starting out, you don't have the funds to test a lot of different things. You can maybe
Exactly.
test one thing a month because when you're testing, it's not the most profitable exercise. So
Yeah.
if you can steal from someone that has tested it, and if they're running it and it's working, and then take as I always say, the components that you believe are working the best, and then
Yeah.
what that does, it saves you a lot of budget and it saves you a lot of time because you're not having to then go and test it, put money behind it, energy, resources into it. You can go, cool, I think that's working. I'm going to go and take that and try it in my account.
Yeah, sweet. I love it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just quickly, let's just jump back to TikTok quickly. Are you just running ads for TikTok, sending them straight to product pages? Do you approach ads the same way on TikTok as you do with Facebook? You already said that creatives and ads kind of die off quickly with
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. Yeah, is there any wins in there or is it all kind of doom and gloom? It's kind of really hard to scale TikTok.
Look, I kind of have, because I talk to a lot of people in the industry as well, and they're like, dude, we're scaling this brand. Me personally, with the accounts that I'm working with, we haven't seen like exponential growth from just purely TikTok. But
Yep.
we have seen it be a great channel that's ticking off a couple of boxes that maybe Facebook can't just because of the ad costs. So one, it is acquiring people at similar or a cheaper cost to Facebook. And
Awareness. It's really good awareness, right?
yeah,
The platform.
exactly. What your question was based around, what can you do or
I
what's some tips that we're doing?
Yeah, I'm more going into, is there any tricks? Like I've seen brands say that it's good to go to focus more on collecting data from TikTok, so getting people's emails and signups, even giveaways, things like that, rather than focusing straight onto here's my product, go buy it. You can still send someone to a product page, but the goal might be trying to get an email or send them to a quiz that gets a bit of information about them and then shows them the
Mhm.
product. Does that
Yeah.
work or yeah?
Yeah, definitely. So quizzes are a great one because I think it keeps them on the platform as well. Another one is what I've done, and this is first-hand experience, so I guess I can talk about it, is running into a giveaway, and we use an app called Gleam, and we got a
Yep.
lot of app downloads from TikTok to enter the giveaway. Now, given the product was a great fit for TikTok, but what we did was we ran essentially a giveaway TikTok ad that said, hey, we're doing this giveaway. You can jump on. And people got points for every bit of the giveaway they entered. So it kind of gamified people giving their data over to this
Great.
brand. So it was like, give us your email plus 1 point, like us on Instagram plus 2, add the app. And these guys, I think, from launching the app, from running this, and then when they did their first product launch on the app, they did $30,000 on their first day
Oh,
within the actual app that was all driven from TikTok.
wow, that's an
Yeah.
awesome one, man. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
would you say the beauty of that might have been that it was a like a scarce offer, like the offer had an end to it, which kind of I guess works with TikTok because TikTok ads kind of die off quicker. So it's I don't know, maybe that had some kind of compounding effect, or I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. It would, like we say with everything, scarcity is a great way to get people to take action or a deadline. And that's like what giveaways are. So you have a
Yep.
deadline. Hey, if you don't give us this or you don't enter by the 5th, you're not going to be able to enter. So it made people have a call to action from that direct ad. But then what it was, they do the information and they can jump straight back onto the platform. And then from there, they've downloaded the app or they've given the emails or they've liked Instagram and they can go back to their scrolling. And then we're not just directly trying to sell them on the product right
Yep.
then and there, but through email leads or through the app, we're then getting and we're nurturing them to hopefully make that end purchase.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love the strategy there. The next thing I wanted to talk about was so there's kind of this methodology. I don't really know what to call it or anything, but I don't really hear people talk about it that often. The company that I worked previously, that you guys now work with, what they figured out was if they ran a strong offer every month, they could exponentially like close everyone who is going through all of their funnels, ads, and groups and communities, everything like that. They made it a goal of theirs to run a really strong offer every single month. So that might be, people are kind of scared of doing discounts. And I do like to approach this because it's discounts have their place for brands, and I think it's good to do discounts, but I have other strategies like free gift offers, like even just free shipping this month ends, whatever. But do you agree, like it's actually a really good idea to have a strong core offer every single month, or just to make everything evergreen forever and try and build this funnel that is just turn on, everything works forever? Does that work across different
Yeah.
niches? I've only worked with so many brands, so I don't really know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I think, and this is what I tell any kind of $100,000 to $10 million brand is every, say, 6 to 8 weeks, there should be an activation,
Yeah.
even 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a sale. Great. And the brand we're working for, they do a sale or some sort of activation every month. And as you know, it works really well. But if you don't want to go on sale, if you're a fashion brand, and I think for fashion brands, a lot of the time, if they're trying to build an elegant brand, it's like, oh, sales,
Yeah.
that's not for us. And for that, I'm like, don't do a sale. But every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, you should have some sort of activation, whether it's
Yeah.
a new product launch, whether it's just a straight sale and an offer that has an end date, whether it's a Facebook Live, an influencer takeover, some sort of way of bringing everyone that's gone through your evergreen strategy and hasn't purchased, but they've been in your funnel that previous 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, to getting them to make a purchase or at least engage with the brand every, during that time period. Because a lot of time people, they get caught in this like feeling of, I'm going to perfect the evergreen strategy. I've been trying for 3 years and I still haven't hit it where I just know everything that works. I know piece of content, I know headlines, I know hooks, I know offers, I know landing pages. You'll just never get there. Or if you have, please let me know and I'll learn from you. But what I do say is, every 6 to 8 weeks, try and have some sort of activation to get
Yeah.
people to come and spend in your store, to get people who are new and they're wanting to make that purchase, to give them a timed kind of period where they have to make the purchase to get X or to be involved in Y.
Yeah, no, I
Mhm.
love it, man. Like this specific strategy, this is the funny thing because this is what I fought with that company that I was working with. So we were fighting. I'm the direct response guy who got them from. I don't take all the credit, but I
Yeah.
could take some kind of credit. Like I literally I got them from $20,000 up to $100,000 a month. Right. This specific thing just made it so much easier for me as a media buyer to close people, and I just didn't realize it until we started doing it. A marketing team member jumped on and she started building out a calendar, like a marketing calendar, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Comes from university marketing world. I'm like, probably gonna butt heads. She was honestly, we didn't butt heads. It was a great relationship.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, she's tapping on my turf a little bit. But then she came in with this kind of concept of what's the offer every, exactly what you said, 4 to 6 weeks. What's the offer? And I just realized, I'm like, this is so much easier to sell. I had all my evergreen strategy that got us to 100 grand plus. But I started freaking out as a media buyer. I'm like, okay, what's the next big thing? How do I get it bigger? And this was actually one of the things that helped us scale. And also my CPMs dropped, like cost per view, if people don't know what CPMs mean. Basically, my costs on socials for ads that were timed offers. So like finishing this week, free gift with every purchase. You can run that ad to all of your existing customers and get them to come back and purchase from you over and over. So yeah, I'm so glad we touched on that because I really do believe like what you just said before is really going to set some businesses free and help take them to the next level. So yeah, build a marketing calendar. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I was going to touch on, which is two things I always tell people from maybe the $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month. Get a marketing calendar because it just makes it so much easier. Because to get to that next stage, you need planning. You can't just wing it and do this on one day. So you need to build hype or you need to gather email lists. So get a marketing calendar and start planning out what you're going to be doing. And the second one is have a little bit of a projections roadmap of what you want to hit each month. And whether you base that on your previous year's data, if you have any, but I always tell people, have a measure of success for your business. Because as an agency, a lot of times people come in and they just, if they've done 10,000 and we hit 20, we could have done 30. So it's not as good as hitting 20. What we say is if we can outline what success looks like to them, and you as a business owner, you want to outline what success looks like. And if you have that down on a piece of paper or on a spreadsheet, at least at the end of the month, if you don't hit it or you do hit it, you can evaluate, cool, what do we need to do to make sure we hit it? or if we did hit it, what did we do that actually worked well that helped us to smash our KPIs? Because, we say you're never going to stumble upon success. You need to outline it because then you know you've hit it.
Yeah, awesome, man. Funnily enough, I've got a marketing calendar everyone can download in the link below. I've literally gone out and built a marketing calendar. I try and give it to heaps of people because I know this is actually one of the tools that you can look back on, and I know it will grow your business if you use a marketing calendar. And there's heaps of tips and tricks in there, and also I think some dummy campaigns and ideas that you can start playing with. We talked about KPIs just then. People are always asking me, oh, what is the ROAS or return on ad spend? I posted somewhere, oh, this guy's spent millions on ads. Yeah, but what's the ROAS? What's the return? I'm like, okay, that's a good question too. It's all vanity metrics, really, unless you have a good ROAS. What are the conversations you're having with brands now to do with return on ad spend, as opposed to what you would have been having, I guess, post iOS 14? Because I feel like that there's a big difference in how you approach this now.
Definitely. So pre iOS 14, we looked at ROAS, and and we were kind of, I guess, stuck in that. Yeah. Oh, the ROAS, and it's a 10, it's great. And everyone's had to shift, and they've had to get a lot smarter and looking at business metrics of what actually is important. And each business that we work with has different metrics that they measure off success. So one thing is, I say to everyone, is measure what you can afford to pay to have a customer come through the door. So your cost per acquisition, because ROAS is a tricky one, especially working in an agency, because if someone has a product that's $100 and someone has a product that's $50, if we're selling their $100 product and we're getting $20 purchases, that's great. We're getting a 5x ROAS. But if they go, oh, that product's out of stock, sell this $50 product, and then I'm still, selling it at 20 or 15, that ROAS is going to drop, but I'm still acquiring the customer at the same price, if not a little bit less. So that's where ROAS can be like a little bit of and people say a vanity metric, because it depends on the product that you're selling. So what we look at is each business is different, but you have your cost per acquisition. We still look at ROAS because you want to see, cool, what's your return on the ad spend? But it's not like the top one. Like, people aren't going, our ROAS isn't an 8 anymore. It's cost per acquisition. We look at marketing efficiency ratio. So for bigger businesses, what you'll generally hear is like, oh, how do I track when I'm spending, let's say, $200,000 in a month? How do you track that? We look at the business as a whole, and we look at all their marketing efforts and their marketing investments into the platforms, and we look at what their top line revenue was each month. Because people talk about this holistic ad strategy, and I may be working on Facebook, and I may be pushing all this traffic, and then all that traffic may be converting through Google. And Facebook's showing a 1.5x ROAS, but Google's showing a 4. So that's where we look at it as a business, go, cool, we spent $1 million, we made $1 million, we spent 100,000, our marketing efficiency ratio is 10. So you take the number and you divide it by your ad spend.
Okay. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that gives you an idea as how effective your marketing investment across the whole business is.
Yep. All right, sweet. I haven't even heard that before.
Yeah.
What is it?
Marketing efficiency ratio.
Holy moly. Sounds fun.
Yeah. It sounds like a big technical number. It's really not. Yeah. It's just a simple way of seeing what you've spent versus what your whole business has made.
When the people who normally ask this kind of thing with ROAS are normally not the ones doing $1 million a month. They're normally the ones who are trying to figure out like how to make 10 grand.
Yeah.
It is a little tricky because it's kind of almost like a blended thing. It's a money in, money out machine with Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
When you $1,000 in, how much did I get back kind of thing. But you've got to, what you're saying is you need to lean more on this, like more of a holistic framework rather than just the money in, money out.
So yeah, I guess my answer was more directed towards the bigger businesses. When you're a small business, I guess you do have to focus on money in, money out, because if you've got $1,000 to spend, if you're spending the $1,000, you need to make sure you're making $2,000 to $3,000 back. So you're going to be focused on your ROAS, and that's why when these smaller businesses, they do focus on ROAS, because they need to see, if I put $1 into Facebook, I want to make sure I'm getting $3 back. As you get bigger and you're using 5 different platforms, it's just too hard to track all of them. You've got
insane.
Cross attribution. Facebook and Google will say they've claimed the same purchase. TikTok and Pinterest, they all just want to claim the purchase. So that's why, one, it becomes hard to just say, hey, I put $1 in here and got $2 back. But as you're a small business, you should be focusing on putting your dollars into whatever platform is going to generate you the greatest ROI. Don't try and get on TikTok just to get on TikTok. Don't try and get on Pinterest to be on Pinterest, Snapchat, Google, email marketing. Evaluate all of them. And if you haven't, obviously start with Facebook. If you're putting $1 in and you're getting $3 out and it's great for your business, add another $1 into it.
Yeah.
Don't
It's a
try
bit
and
easier when you're smaller to kind of, to be honest, this is a tricky one for me to answer because I haven't been through this post iOS 14. It was a lot easier to crack all this stuff.
yeah.
So I guess my strategy, if I was smaller, would be like what you're saying. You can physically see how much revenue is generating every day, and you can see how much money you're spending on Facebook every day, day to day. But the metrics might not be perfect. To explain to everyone as well, Facebook like the analytics and their dashboards aren't perfect. Personally, I actually don't know how good they are anymore. Are they good? Are they getting close to being better, or they're still whacked out?
In regards to, are you talking about the attribution and like the window of?
Yeah, like how is Facebook's attribution and dashboards working now? Are they like, do they reflect proper results or?
Yeah, they do. Not as clean as maybe they used to, obviously, with post iOS 14. Now, as I said earlier, Blot Out, the app that we use, does help a lot. But for some of the brands that aren't, it's not as clean. However, you do have to kind of look at Shopify as your main source of truth in the sense of if it's showing the numbers that you want it to show, they're the numbers that are coming through your store, right?
Yep.
And what we say is to look at so look at your Facebook account. How's that looking? If it's showing that it's okay numbers and in Shopify that day it's looking pretty good, or that last week it's looking pretty good, then great, your marketing efforts on Facebook are probably doing pretty well. But it's kind of looking at multiple sources to figure out, if you're a small business, if it's worth continuing to add another $1 into it if you believe that the data may not be clean.
That's probably why it's a good idea not to spread out between platforms at the start as well. Because it's like, you think big businesses struggle with it. If you're small and you're trying to figure out what's working for you, you probably just stick to Facebook, see if that works. Maybe stick to it for a good 6 months and just see what works, what's gelling. Would you say you always want to still be going after conversions as the top marker and what you're actually trying to tell Facebook to go after? Conversions, not traffic, not engagement. Go after conversions when you're setting up campaigns.
Go after conversions. You can't pay the bills on engagement. That's what we always say. You have to pay the bills with cold hard cash. Conversions is going to outperform it. Now, it doesn't mean those other objectives don't have a place. They do, but it's when you can afford to spend the $1 and have it not necessarily be returned that day or that week, but in 6 months' time.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So I pretty much always did conversions. Yeah. And then, so you go for conversions. I'm just trying to think for people who are in that space, like trying to learn the basics. So you go for conversions and then you've got your top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel that we talked about before. Test your organic. You can run some like if you want to do UGC testing and stuff like that, do that on TikTok. And you can bring that over to Facebook to run some ads using UGC. I'm just trying to summarize some of the stuff. Yeah, that's cool, man. There's some awesome nuggets in there, man. I love it. The last thing I wanted to touch on is hiring an agency. So there's brands out there, like this whole thing wasn't here to try and get you all to join their agency. Not at all. But also, if you really do want to use an agency, these guys are legends. Go for it. But what's your take on when is a good time to be hiring an agency to be able to take over your ads and everything like that?
Definitely. So we normally say there's 2 reasons to hire an agency. One is if you're doing everything yourself and you want to outsource, you want some of your time back. As a business owner, you start out doing everything yourself and then you want to buy your time back. So you hire people in place to do jobs that you don't necessarily want to do or that are better than you at doing it. So that's why I say if you get into a point where you're just juggling too many hats and you want to offload them and your business can sustain paying an agency retainer and then also investing in the ad spend, then I'd say definitely look at hiring an agency or a freelancer, whoever you want to do. I definitely recommend it is worth it. You're getting people who are working across multiple accounts. They're seeing things day in, day out. And 99% of the time, they're up to date with what's working because they have to be. Yeah. The other one is businesses that are looking for like crazy growth. So they're at that 50K mark and they just can't seem to crack it. And they're wanting a bit more of an ad structure and strategy implemented into their business that an agency knows how to facilitate that because they've done it with so many other businesses. So that's where I say there's the two people, one that they've been doing it and they've had people internally, or they've had a freelancer and it's gotten them to a great point, but they just can't reach that next stage. Hiring an agency and obviously doing your due diligence with an agency and seeing what are the key things for you when you're hiring an agency. Do you want crazy growth? Do you want slow growth over a period of time? Do you maybe just want your time back and you're happy just chilling at 60K a month or 50K a month and you're happy to pay 2, 3, 4 grand to have someone else do it for you? I think really figuring out why you're wanting to do it, and then finding an agency that you think fits that core need.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like I've had a funny experience. Technically, I was kind of an agency, a freelancer, and I had a few other businesses going on as well. Like I was growing these other businesses as well. But it's kind of really hard to hire in-house for this specific skill set because the people who learn this stuff, they want to be paid a certain amount, and they do because they know how to grow businesses. So they want to be able to be paid a certain amount, which means it's hard to hire those people and keep them in-house in your business because they might outgrow you with their skill sets and things like that. But at the start, it might be okay to train your staff or whatever. Yeah. Like you might find this gun person who jumps on and this is their thing. They absolutely love it. They do some training that we talked about at the very start that Mark learnt from. And that's cool. Put your staff through that training and everything. But one of the reasons why that company that I was working with that we passed on to Dunk, I was battling in my mind. I'm like, these guys just need to hire someone on the inside that can just do this, that can take over my job. They struggled for months. It's really hard to hire someone and teach them these kind of skill sets because they're working with a solid amount of money, and you've got to trust that they're staying on top of everything across all platforms. And there's a few reasons why they hired agencies. One was because you guys have insights. So you're working with other agents, other brands, and you can see, okay, this type of ad over here is working. Let's try it across all of our brands. Let's just try it across everyone really quickly, and you can learn faster. And that's something I found that was a great reason to jump on with agency life. The other thing is if you're in the digital marketing strategist space, you've got your finger on a lot of different pies. Like you've got a lot of things. You've got to learn copywriting. You've got to learn how to create ads. You've got to learn how to run Facebook ads down here. And these skill sets are pretty far apart. Like it takes a special someone to pull them all in together. But if you've got an agency where they've got a team that just focus on creative, and then they've got a team like someone like you who can just go hardcore on, hey, what's the proper strategy behind this, and I'll go then phone my creative guys over here to build the creative that go behind the strategy. I wish I had a creative team like that.
Yeah.
I was doing stuff. But yeah, like there is a lot of reasons as to why you would go with an agency. Now, that was literally a fight I had in my head. I was like, shouldn't they just hire someone? And the reality is it's actually really hard to hire someone in-house who has all of those things. And also, I do think a team will outperform one person always. So as you scale, like you guys are going to be able to run more tests. You guys are going to be able to fly through more creatives than I would ever be able to do myself, or someone who works for you. And that's the other reason why I definitely suggest going with agencies. Is there anything else you want to add there? Or I just hire Mark because he's just good looking.
That's generally why I have 100% close rate. When I jump on these calls, people just look at me and they go, we're signing. Nah, most of the calls are with the FaceTime off. But what I was going to say is, yeah, you made some great points. And look, there's pros and cons. You know, some people like to have the person sitting next to them and being like, cool, what are you doing? But with agencies, I always say, you're getting tests done for you without you having to pay for it. Really? Because I'm learning from small business. Okay, cool. What are they? They're in the mud. They're in the trenches. They're doing everything they can. And I'm going to the big businesses being like, shit, I'm seeing this happen. Let's do that like for us, and vice versa. So you get one, the pool of all the businesses. Two, you get to say it in a way of like, when you work with an agency, the person that you're working with now has two bosses. They have you, the client, and they have their own boss. So there's two people that are making sure that all the time they are doing their best to make sure that you as the client are getting the results that you want. And it can be hard when you hire someone in-house to be like, cool, are they the right fit? Are they progressing their skills? Because some people will just come in and they'll just be doing things they learned 3 years ago and that's about it. So I know I'm obviously going to be a bit biased towards hiring an agency, but I think it's what you also put into an agency.
Yep.
Don't just think, you hire an agency and all your problems are solved. When you build a relationship with the team that you're hiring and you're giving them the assets that they require and getting the best out of them, and then they're hopefully doing the same from you, that's when the agency partnership really works.
Yeah, awesome, man. And then on the back of that as well, if you are interviewing agencies, something to watch out for, I've just got this alarm bell in the back of my head. If all they're talking about is ROAS, it's almost like alarm bells should be going off everywhere. I advise everyone to go back through this YouTube video and just listen to a lot of the little things that we talked about along the way, because there'll be certain things that'll pop up. And if the people that you're interviewing aren't talking like this, there's a good chance they're just trying to sell you. You might be their first client, or they're just ready to stuff you over and just make money out of you. We talked about communities. So you've got your own community, Dunk, now.
Yes.
And Dunk, can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so it's called the Dunk League, and we created it because we're an agency and we have quite, expensive retainers, I'll say. And we still wanted to help the smaller businesses, because when we were building the agency, we used to be able to help small businesses, but as we've got bigger, it just doesn't become as attainable for us to be able to do so with managing their ads. So what we thought is we create this really cool community where we essentially teach you how to do everything, so you can scale your business to get to a point where either one, you've learned all the skills and you can do it yourself, or two, you can be like, cool, I'm going to hire an agency to do it all for me. So we go through everything on, like sourcing creators, Facebook ad tips and tricks on, building your actual e-commerce business. And the best thing is, like we said, with an agency, you get all the other businesses that that the strategist is working with, and you get to pull from those insights. And that's what we're trying to create with the Dunk League, which is X business, Y business, Z business. They're all helping and being like, hey, I did this, you guys can do this. And it's all led by Ben, who's our general manager, Ash, who's our marketing director, and then myself, that's in the trenches day in, day out. And we provide the guidance to hopefully scale your business.
Bro, that's sick. I should join the Dunk League too.
You should. Maybe I'll give you free entry.
Oh, legend. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But everyone else, you can all pay. Sorry.
Nah, for everyone else, they do want to join, we have 7 days free, because we want to make sure that when you join in, you love it and you feel that you're getting the value. So you can jump in 7 days free. If you don't like it, you're more than welcome to bounce.
Awesome. Wrapping it up, where can they find all this stuff? Where should we be heading?
Definitely. I'd say, firstly, head to our Instagram, see what we're all about. We're Dunk.agency. Check out the vibe, see if you like us. We also provide a heap of value on our Instagram in regards to tips and tricks on Facebook ads and Google ads and things like that. You can head to our website as well, www.dunk.agency, and also TikTok. We've changed up TikTok a little bit. We're going for a bit more humorous insights into the agency and what we do, and maybe some little inside jokes and things like that.
Oh, awesome. And to get in that Dunk League, how do they contact you, or is there a step there they need to do?
So what you can do is, if you head to our website, there'll be a Dunk League tab. And if you tap on there, there will be a page that will give you all the information. Ben, who's our general manager, has a quick little 1-minute explainer that gives you a bit more of an insight into what it is, what we'll be covering, why it's important for you, things like, how to hire your first employee.
Awesome. Dude, I'm pumped for the Dunk League.
Yeah, it's really cool. As always, it's what you put into it is what you get out. So if you're looking for a community like that, I definitely recommend jumping on and seeing what it's all about.
Awesome. And I'll have all the links, depending on which platform we're on right now. I'll have links below or up above. I don't know where they are, but I'll try and have links for all of Dunk stuff to get involved with them. I'll also have the calendar link that we put in there, and also have a link to our Facebook group that we've got as well. It's completely free. So that's just where I put tips and tricks as well. But I don't have a whole team of strategists and everything like that doing it. It's just coming out of my brain. And Mark's in that group too. So we'll probably, have a little bit of a Q&A thing in there as well. Cool. It's been awesome to have you on today, Mark. Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having me. Always great to chat to you. And yeah, like you said, I'll be in that group. So if there's anything I didn't answer, people can shoot the questions in and I can get back to them.
Exciting. Cool. All right.
Cool.
It's been fun. Awesome.
Thanks, Ty. Lovely to speak to you as always.